who killed Santa Claus, and will they kill again before the night is through? If we remove the dust jacket, we've got this beautiful scene, and I think it's going to have a variety of mysteries. I really am looking forward to this, especially when I get settled in as the snow begins to fall outside my window. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra, the TBR Zero, and my goal is to slowly but surely lessen my physical TBR one book at a time. I will be discussing my December TBR in 10 minutes or less, and I could have gone various directions with this book selection. I could have gone for winter settings, Christmas and or holiday themes, or books that I simply want to finish before 2022 ends, because this is the last month to do so. And I want to say that the books in front of me are a combination of all three of those requirements, but I will talk about my Netgalley ARCs first. The first Netgalley ARC that I really want to read in December is A Murder at Balmoral. This is by Chris McGeorge, and it's been described as The Crown meets Clue locked room mystery, which I am very intrigued by, and it has some alternate history elements to it, which is not something I'm used to in my mystery reads. We are in a world in which, what if King Edward VIII did not abdicate the throne? So that means there will be royals that we are not used to in this mystery. And why is that important? Well, it's because the murder victim in question is the king himself. So the royal family ends up coming together for this celebration in the Scottish countryside, and the King Eric, is discovered dead. And so you know that someone in the family must have murdered him. And I'm really interested to see how many names I recognize, how many names I don't, and how much historical accuracy there will be, especially when we're talking about already having a few changes to the timeline. So it'll be really fascinating, and I'm really looking forward to it. The second book that I'm really excited to read from Netgalley is On Spine of Death. This is by Tamra Berry. It is the second book in her By the Book mystery series. I do own book one, and I enjoyed it so much. I'm looking forward to having the chaos and the mayhem continue with Tess and her daughter Gertrude. I didn't realize when I first started this series that it would be a mother-daughter investigative team. I simply thought that Gertrude was a character to add to the complexity of Tess as an amateur sleuth, but Tess is a thriller writer. She and her daughter moved from Seattle to Winthrop, Washington, and as they're getting settled into this second book, they are renovating the old family hardware store that was once owned by Tess's grandfather, and they're changing it into an independent bookstore. But as they do so, during the renovation process, they end up discovering these bones, and they are tied to a cold case that has apparently haunted the town for a significant amount of time, and the town begins to wonder if Tess's grandfather is the killer. Basically, Tess is trying to save his reputation, figure out who actually killed this person or persons, if there's more than one body. I think it may be a serial murder case, I can't remember. But she also has to figure out, if it is her grandfather, what does that mean? Can she stay in this town? Can her daughter stay in this town? So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a wild ride, because the first one definitely was. For my next December TBR book, I am really excited to read Murder for Christmas. This is by Frances Duncan. It was originally published in 1949, and it reminds me of another mystery book that I just recently read for Christmas, and it was Murder After Christmas by Rupert Latimer. That was published in 1944, so it was a World War II setting mystery, whereas this one's obviously happening just afterwards, but they do have a lot of similarities. And one of them is that there is a Christmas Eve party, and everyone's enjoying themselves. They're having the best time until the stroke of midnight, when they discover that there is more than just presents under the tree, but a dead body. And that dead body has a few strange resemblances to old Saint Nick himself. So basically we're wondering who killed Santa Claus, and will they kill again before the night is through. I am also really looking forward to The Very Merry Murder Club. This is a collection of short stories, mystery genre, but for middle grade readers. I really love middle grade mystery. I think it's an underrated version of the subgenres that exist within mystery as a genre itself. And this is just a really beautiful cover, but it doesn't end there. We have a beautiful interior, and on top of that, if we remove the dust jacket, we've got this beautiful scene. And I think it's going to have a variety of mysteries, especially involving theft, murder, maybe someone's gone missing for Christmas. I'm not really sure. But the editors are Serena Patel and Robin Stevens. I don't know much about Serena Patel. Robin Stevens, though, is the author of a Murder Most Unladylike series. I do own 2 of those books in the series, haven't read them. So if this is my introduction to Robin Stevens, maybe it will encourage me to try her other books that are her own creation. Moving on to the more wintry settings that aren't necessarily about Christmas, I am hoping to read Naomi Novik's Spinning Silver. This was recommended to me by a friend, and actually this is her copy. She's lending it to me for the season, so I really should be reading it quickly and getting it back to her. It was after I ended up adoring Small Favors by Erin A. Craig that she was like, okay, you need to read this next. And it has similar fantastical themes. It reminds me of quite a few traditional fairy tales. And the main character, Miriam, she pretty much has her family's financial situation on her shoulders. And so one thing leads to another, and a rumor begins to fly across the town, across the land, that she is able to spin silver into gold. This ends up reaching the Tsar, and on top of that, the king of what I can only tell, and due to the description, is a grim fey creature who seems to be more ice than flesh. So it's going to be really eerie. It's going to be really creepy. It is set during the winter season as well. And just looking at this cover, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Yeah, I believe it's a YA fantasy, high fantasy, and I really am looking forward to this, especially when I get settled in as the snow begins to fall outside my window. Another wintry themed book is Green Glass House. This is by Kate Milford, and I have been meaning to read this for so long. It's actually quite funny because Carly at Bookish Pixie Reads, she ended up asking me when we were talking about another book if I had read this, because it seems like a book I would have read. And I was like, you know what? No, I've thought about reading it. I've thought about buying it or borrowing it from the library for a long time, but I just haven't pulled the trigger. And then I was looking at my shelves and I realized that, yes, I actually have purchased this book. And so I think that that's a sign that I really do need to read it. And so this book follows Milo. He is the innkeeper's son, and he is looking forward to a very slow inn season. There shouldn't be many guests. It's winter outside, and yet slowly but surely more and more guests of mysterious circumstances begin to check into the hotel or into the inn. And so he and I believe it's the cook's daughter, they team up to figure out what actually is going on. And it also seems like maybe smuggling is involved or some other sort. So I'm looking forward to it. Just look at that cover too. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. And there are numerous other books in the series that follow Green Glass House. So if I enjoy it, I'll be reading the next ones. Oh my goodness. I am breezing through this, and just in time too, because now I want to move on to a few ARCs that are physical copies, thanks to Kensington Press. Thank you so much, Kensington, for valuing my opinion, for exchanging honest reviews for these physical copies of these ARCs. And the first book I'll be talking about is Darcy Wilde's new debut novel for a new series that's a spin-off of another one, The Secret of the Lost Pearls. So this is a spin-off from her original series, Rosalind Thorne Mysteries, and it's historical fiction set during the Regency era. And so this new spin-off series is called A Useful Woman Mystery. And it came with this wonderful informational pamphlet, so I'm just going to read it off for you. It says, the intrepid Rosalind Thorne of Darcy Wilde's mystery series of the same name returns in a brand new spin-off Useful Woman mystery series that finds the sleuth helping the ladies of high society navigate the dark corners of Regency London without revealing the women's most shocking secrets. As a useful woman, a lady of quality in reduced circumstances who helps wealthy women with their personal problems, Rosalind finds herself in search of a valuable pearl necklace that's believed to be stolen by a disgraced family member. So apparently it's inspired by Jane Austen. It's described as carrying the soul of Sherlock Holmes in the world of Elizabeth Bennet. So this is definitely going to be right up my alley, especially because I love historical fiction mysteries. Another Kensington ARC that is due to be published in January 2023 just as Darcy Wilde's book, that also will be published in 2023 in January, is Book Clubbed to Death by V.M. Burns. Apparently, this is a continuation of the series, and this will be my introduction to it, so I hope I like it enough to go to the first few books in this series. But it follows this bookstore owner who's also a novelist, and when the bookstore owner, Sam, who's also our sleuth, ends up inviting the Mystery Mavens book club to her club, or to her bookstore, to begin their meetings, there's this particular book reviewer who is just a bit too icy, a bit too uptight, and so they do not get along on good terms, which is not great for Sam, who has a historical fiction book about to be published soon. Well, the book reviewer ends up being discovered dead on the floor in Sam's shop when she opens up one morning, and apparently she was bashed with a heavy and apparently lethal tome, the complete works of Agatha Christie. And so now Sam has to figure out who ended up murdering this person, especially because they're gonna start to think that she's the murderer herself. I can't wait. This is gonna be so good. It's gonna be so fun. And the cover in itself is really fun too. Both of these books will be out, if you can see, January 2023. So yeah, can't wait to read those. I ended up going a little over time, but I think it was worth it because I did get to talk about every single book I wanted to talk about. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like, consider commenting below what books you plan on reading in December, and also consider subscribing to the channel so that you'll be one of the first people to know when a new video like this is up. Thanks everyone. I hope you have a lovely reading month ahead of you. Happy 2022. Let's make this last month a great one. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.